Picture a father, cradling his hungry child under a tattered tent, whispering promises of food that may never come. Picture a doctor, hands shaking, watching medical supplies burn in the ashes of a hospital warehouse. This is Gaza, May 19th, 2025, a place where hope fights to survive amidst bombs, blockades, and despair. But tonight, a crack of light breaks through. A promise of aid, a whisper of change. Will it be enough to save a people on the edge? This is their story. In the heart of Gaza, where the Mediterranean's waves once carried dreams, the air now hums with the drone of warplanes and the cries of the displaced. For 11 weeks, a blockade has choked this narrow strip of land, cutting off food, fuel, and medicine. The United Nations has warned of a critical risk of famine for 2.1 million Palestinians. Aid agencies have called it a policy of starvation, a potential war crime. And yet, the people of Gaza endure, mothers scavenging for scraps, children dreaming of bread, and doctors stitching wounds with dwindling supplies. But today, a shift. Israeli authorities have announced they will allow a basic amount of food into Gaza, a decision born from global outcry and the specter of mass starvation. The UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, or OCHA, is in talks to resume limited aid deliveries. At the Kerem Shalom crossing, trucks loaded with hope stand ready. Yet as aid teeters on the edge of entry, Israel's military intensifies its operations, ordering evacuations in Khan Younis and striking hospitals and refugee camps. The question looms, can aid reach those who need it before it's too late? This is not just a story of war or politics. It's a story of human survival, of families clinging to life, and of a world wrestling with its conscience. Let's step into Gaza, where every moment is a fight for tomorrow. Meet Ahmad, a father of 6 in al-Mawasi, a so-called safe zone in Khan Younis. His voice, shared through a crackling WhatsApp message to a journalist in Jerusalem, carries the weight of despair. "My children go to sleep hungry," he says. "Sometimes I sit and cry like a little kid if I can't provide food for them." Ahmad's story is one of millions. In al-Mawasi, tents sag under the weight of new arrivals, fleeing Israeli evacuation orders. "The safe place has become impossible to live in," Ahmad whispers. "We can hardly move." The blockade, imposed by Israel since early March, has turned Gaza into a pressure cooker. No food, no fuel, no medicine. The UN's Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, reports over 3,000 aid trucks stuck outside the territory, their cargo spoiling under the desert sun. In Khan Younis, a father of 2, displaced and nameless for his safety, describes the desperation. "The food shortage has reached extreme levels. Death pursues you everywhere and in every way. The world has watched in horror. Aid agencies have sounded alarms, warning that Gaza teeters on the edge of famine." The BBC spoke to Palestinians who described scavenging for one meal a day, their children's bellies swollen with hunger. A mother in Jabalia refugee camp said, "We boil leaves to trick our stomachs." A doctor at the Indonesian hospital in northern Gaza, before it was forced to close by airstrikes, confessed, "We're treating starvation as much as shrapnel wounds." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has insisted there is no shortage of food in Gaza, claiming the real crisis is Hamas looting aid. But for Ahmad and millions like him, these words ring hollow. The blockade, Netanyahu says, was meant to pressure Hamas into releasing hostages. 58 remain in Gaza, up to 23 believed alive. Yet, the policy has punished an entire population, drawing condemnation from world leaders and accusations of war crimes. On May 19, 2025, a faint glimmer of hope emerged. Israel's government, under mounting international pressure, announced it would allow a basic amount of food into Gaza to prevent a starvation crisis. The decision, recommended by the Israel Defense Forces, came hours after the military launched extensive ground operations named Operation Gideon's Chariot. At the Kerem Shalom crossing, Reuters captured images of aid trucks poised to move, their drivers praying for safe passage. In Egypt's Arish, more trucks lined up, their cargo a lifeline for a starving population. The UN's OCHA, tasked with coordinating aid, confirmed it's in talks with Israeli authorities to resume deliveries. "We are in discussions now on how this would take place given the conditions on the ground," a spokesperson said. For aid workers, this news is a lifeline. UNRWA, the largest provider of aid in Gaza, has supplies piled up at crossings, ready to feed families like Ahmad's. The world holds its breath, hoping this minimal basic bridge, as Netanyahu called it, will reach those in need.